This is a trend that I am super angry about, and you should be angry about it too. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Hello there. I am Judy Arizosa and the host of the Air Hug Community Podcast. I'm so glad you joined in today. If you've never listened to this podcast before, this is a podcast about living an awesome midlife. We talk about all sorts of topics relative to improving the second half of your life. Some of it's awesome, some of it's sticky, some of it is very introspective, and sometimes we have guests. So welcome, I'm so glad you're here. Today it's just me, and we're going to talk about a topic that I am very angry about today, and I hope that you are too. New York Post, November 22, 2022, comes up with a headline talking about "Bye Bye Booty, the heroin chick is back." Now, I don't know about you, but this makes me angry. First of all, body types are not trendy. I mean, trendy in the sense that something like this year, black is the awesome color, and maybe 3 years ago, khaki was the awesome color. Body types do not fit into a trendy versus non-trendy category. And I'm really, really disappointed and sad and angry that thin worship is back. I wasn't too crazy about butt worship either, because people were going to unhealthy lengths in order to get big butts. And now people are going to unhealthy lengths to become ridiculously skinny. So a couple of things. One of the things that we saw in the social media in the very recent past was Kim Kardashian highly publicizing the dangerous diet that she went on to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks. It was all over social media. Now we're seeing clothes all over social media that only suit the long, lanky type bodies. And frankly, I find this very disturbing, especially for impressionable younger women / adolescent girls. The thing is that people are even buying into this in extreme ways, and I just hate to see this. And the bottom line here is that you can do what you can do to have the healthiest body possible, but you can't control outcomes, right? You cannot just become like Twiggy thin or, look like a heroin addict thin. And why would you want to? It's not even healthy anyways. But that's besides the point. I feel sad that these people have such low self-esteem that they're willing to mold their shape or try to, or die trying to do it in a way that currently seems to be popular just based on, I don't know what, who decides these things are popular anyways. So this is becoming extreme. There's even a super high surge in people trying to buy Pilates programs. And I'm not saying Pilates is bad, but the reason they're buying into it is because they want to have a longer, leaner body. FYI, you can't get a body any longer than what you have. Once you've stopped growing, your body doesn't get longer. And being excessively lean, point two, is excessively unhealthy and dangerous. I hope I don't need to say this, but I feel I would be negligent if I didn't remind us of this. Now, the third thing I want to say is it's very trendy now for people to misuse diabetic drugs. And this is actually on the rise, especially with celebrities, and it's being publicized. So this is awful. I will say, on a more responsible note, and I'm very glad to share this, that on Instagram and TikTok, the hashtag ThinSpo has been banned. And those who actually search for it will actually be redirected to mental health and eating disorder resources. So I would really like to commend social media for taking a responsible stance on this. And there are other hashtags that I personally would like to see also get people directed towards a little bit of help, mental health and eating disorder help. And those are FitSpo what I eat in a day, body check, and then my least favorite, which is still being used, bikini body. So the reason I don't like this, because these are the people who follow, they're disciples of the never too thin philosophy. And, these people are willing to be so thin that they will do unhealthy things. I have even heard women say that they wish they had cancer so they could be thin. They wish they had a gastrointestinal disease so they could be thin. And I'm like, when did women get so warped in it? Actually, I don't think it's confined to the female sex only. So I'm going to actually retract that. When did people get so, what do I want to say, down on themselves that they think they have to become a trendy body in order to gain approval from others? When did this happen? This is what I'm saying. We need to just put our feet down and get angry about it. Hey, did you know that during the pandemic, there was a study that found that TikTok was actually promoting toxic diet culture and glorifying extreme weight loss? Yeah, it's true. But let's flip the switch again for a moment, because there is a little bit of silver lining. There are some people out there who are not doing that and actually advocating for a more healthy approach to living. All right. And one of them is best-selling author Sonia Renee Taylor. She is the person who is known for being committed to radical self-love as a path to liberation. And her book, The Body Is Not an Apology, is a frank discussion that goes deep, and I mean deep, into radical self-love. I mean, it goes way beyond where self-acceptance trails off, and it is very thought-provoking on purpose for the reader. And so you can look that up if you're interested in that. I'm currently working my way through the book, and I am finding it quite fascinating. Here's another little tidbit of information I found. In 2017, a person named Emma McClendon curated an exhibition and called it The Body, Fashion and Physique, about the idealized, fashionable body at the Museum of FTT. And she was quoted, I'm assuming she's a she, but this person was quoted as saying, whether it's contemporary or 19th century, we as a culture, as a society, are obsessed with size. It has become connected to our identity as people. Wow. And I'm sure if you think about it for a minute, just take a minute to digest that. If you want to hit pause and go back, you can definitely see where this is like nothing new. This has been going on for a long time. The question is, how did we get here? Because I don't really know how we get here. I have my suspicions. And what can we do to truly believe that body shapes are not trendy, and then that's actually, being obsessed with size is actually dangerous? So I think one of the things that we can do is stop this nonsense in believing that we can mold our body into a trendy shape. So let's remember, and you've heard me say this on numerous episodes, we can do all the behaviors, right? Be they good, bad, good for us, bad for us, dangerous, risky, whatever, for whatever outcomes we want to have, but we actually cannot control outcomes. We can't. We can do our best, but we really can't control outcomes. And people who become obsessed with obtaining a current trendy body or a certain body shape or size or both are actually putting themselves at a great risk for mental illness and disordered eating. So my point today is, won't you join me in going rogue and ignoring these trendy body posts, comments, anything about it? Let's instead remember that we each have a unique body. Like snowflakes, there are no two bodies in the world that are the same. And each one of these unique bodies deserves radical love. And each one of these bodies deserves tender, loving care. But in order for radical love to happen, it needs to come from within each one of us. Our life depends on it, literally. Let's talk about tender loving care, because we each deserve and need to treat our body with tender loving care. It's our responsibility, right, to take care of our body. This is where we live, and we only have it for a finite amount of time. So we can choose to live in it unhealthy. We can choose to live in it healthy. We can choose to live in it in ways that minimize our risks for disease. We can choose to live in it in the opposite way. But my suggestion is that we use our actions and behaviors in our life to improve our body so that we can live in it without restrictions. And how are we going to do that? You know what I'm going to say next. We need to keep it strong. Yes, we need to keep it strong. Not so we can lose weight, so that we can live in a healthy body. Right? A refined shape is a byproduct of living well, and we can't dictate what that shape will be. That shape is somewhat dictated by our genealogy. We don't have control over it, but we do have control over the behaviors that we can follow to treat ourselves well, right? We can become strong, we can feed our body well, and we can also be grateful that we have a body to live in. Because the day that you don't have a body to live in is the day that you cease to exist on this earth. And so we cannot understate the value of thanking our higher power, the universe, whatever it is you call it, Mother Nature, Spirit, I don't care. Call it whatever you want. But each and every day that you wake up, be grateful that you have a body, and remember to treat it well, because it's the only one you have. And for the love of life, do not try to mold it into something that is trendy. I want to thank you for listening today. This was, again, something I wanted to get off my chest, and I just think it's very, very sad that we have to listen and see publications like this that talk about heroin bodies and big butts, and we're not worthy if we don't follow these trends. And so I just want to make sure that we know we are worthy simply by being who we are and treating ourselves with radical love and respect. So listen, that's all I got today. Thank you very much for listening. Would you do me a favor? Would you please leave a review if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or some other podcast platform that allows reviews? Because reviews are the lifeblood of podcasts. And it is my goal to put out a podcast for midlife people so that we can enjoy the second half of our life without restrictions. All right. Ta-ta for now. I will see you next Tuesday here on the Air Hug Community Podcast.